Good afternoon, everyone. This is Suzanne Morris, the Deputy Secretary of the Office of Child Development and Early Learning. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us to hear more about the revisioned Keystone Stars. We're really excited to share details with you today. And in thinking about what the revised Keystone Stars means to our office, to our field, and most importantly to our parents, families, and children, I just want to think back a little bit about our shared vision here at Octel and what set us on the path to rethink STARS. We've been challenging ourselves for the last 18 months to think differently of how is it possible. And I'm really happy to say that the new STARS is one of the answers to how is it possible to better serve families and children? How is it possible to better meet the needs of our early learning providers? And how is it possible to better include early learning quality across all of our communities? And so in thinking of all of that, as you hear more details about STARS today and moving forward, really keeping that vision in front of us of how is it possible has a lot of meaning in the new system. And with that, I want to thank everybody who has gotten us here today. A huge thank you to our stakeholders who participated in the Keystone Stars think tank. A huge thank you to our advocates who really kept the issue of STARS in front of us, not only throughout this process of the last 18 months, but even before. A big thank you to our work group members that helped us think through the detailed work of our new system. And a big, big thank you, of course, to our staff at Octel, the regional key partners, our PA key partner, and our early intervention technical assistance partners. Without all of you, as well as our forefathers and foremothers that helped set the path of STARS before us, none of this would be possible. So we are really, really excited to have all of you with us today to be sharing, again, the details of the new STARS with you. But thank you so much for all that you have done to make this possible. And with that, I'm going to turn this over to our Director of the Bureau of Early Learning Services, Becky Mercatoris.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Suzanne. It was wonderful to have you remind us exactly why we are doing what we're doing around revising our Keystone Stars system. We have many people on today's webinar, and we really thank you all for joining us. To that end, please know that you are welcome to use the chat box. We would love to hear your feedback and comments. We will not be able to answer all of the questions today, but we will certainly loop those back out to you. But really, our best opportunity to have all of you join us and really talk through the new system is to join us at one of our regional meetings, and we'll be sharing the dates at the end of this webinar, and those will also be posted on the www.pakeys.org website. So to begin, we wanted to take just a minute to remind ourselves of the core principles that many of you contributed so heavily to around where we wanted STARS to land and what we wanted to use as the foundation for our quality rating and improvement system moving forward. And as we heard from the field, everyone felt it was deeply important that Keystone Stars is a responsive system. This is a system that changes and grows with our field, and as we know better and do better and find new evidence-based practices, it's really a system that's intended to capitalize on our strengths, to challenge ourselves to do better and move forward, but most importantly, once again, to put children and families at the center of our work every day and to really think deeply about how we're serving the children and who we're serving and that we're indeed meeting their needs. So as we think through the core principles, which again, all of you have hopefully seen and feel deeply invested in, again, we're looking at the whole child approach to education, thinking about how children come to us as part of a family, and that it's important that all of our resources and supports are connected together. Again, this idea around a knowledgeable and responsive early care and education professional. The folks who are serving our children every day need to be supported to ensure they have what they need to provide the best possible relationships and environments to the children they care for. And then finally, this idea around building and sustaining ongoing positive relationships between children, families, the early care and professionals who care for them, and community stakeholders is so essential for the growth of our children, for the support of our families, and for the growth of our communities. Finally, we talk a lot about how we believe that inclusion, diversity, equity, and respect are foundational values embedded in these principles. These principles only move forward because they sit on this foundation. And I hope you see, as we move through the revised performance standards, we've spent many, many, many times challenging ourselves to reflect back on the core principles that all of you set on the table to ensure that we are indeed meeting the needs of everyone who is participating in the Keystone Star system. So as we looked towards revising STARS, again, we have these words to guide us. And this is about, again, challenging ourselves to really think deeply about what's most meaningful, what's most impactful to providers and programs and children, not about every extra and every piece of something that may be meaningful to one program but really isn't applicable to another. This is about challenging ourselves to get down to the few and the powerful, deep and simple, and really leave ourselves room so providers and programs can make a lot of choice about what they find most supportive and meaningful to the children and families they serve, so they have time and room to think about what best practices mean for them in their program. So as we move to the STAR structure, you'll see this is one of the largest pieces about what's new. So Keystone STARS used to be a block system, which meant that providers needed to meet every performance standard in every STAR level in order to move forward. As we spent time talking to stakeholders and listening to the new research around quality rating and improvement systems, it became clear that there were many barriers in place with this model that could be addressed through a different way, which is why we've moved to a hybrid system, which means that the first 2 STAR levels are indeed block. A provider or program would need to meet all of the associated performance standards in those blocks. But as we start to look towards what a STAR 3 or 4 means, it's really about allowing providers flexibility and the room to say, hey, this is what makes me special. This is why our program's great. Here's where we want to focus. So it allows us to have both rigor as well as flexibility in a system. As we move towards encouraging all providers, all programs to really set high quality goals for themselves, a big piece of this is a systems change for us where all DHS certified programs with a full certificate of compliance will earn a STAR 1 rating. This is about ensuring our families and their children have the information they need to make an informed choice about what high quality looks like in their community. It helps us bring the system together so we have lots of commonality and we're able to really leverage our strengths to be able to move forward. With that being said, there are 50% fewer performance standards. This means that the cost of compliance around moving forward to a higher STAR level is much lower for programs. Again, we want to have this emphasis on allowing programs to demonstrate what they're already doing rather than taking steps to comply with performance indicators that may not be terribly meaningful to the children that they're currently serving. As we look at STAR 2 moving forward, you'll see that this is really a focus on structural quality. How do we put the pieces in place for programs to get what they need so when they do find an exciting best practice, when they do find a new endeavor that they'd like to move their program towards, they have the foundation available so they're ready to really take the leap and have the space that they can start to focus on the process quality. STAR 3 and 4 really focuses on a program's continuous quality improvement. And as you'll see as we move forward, this continuous quality improvement plan is built by the program. This is a program saying, this is what's meaningful to us. This is what we want to work on. This is what the children that we serve really need. So we want to make sure that you have both the resources and supports in place to identify your strengths, and also resources in place when you say, this is something we'd like to work on, we're able to support your program moving forward. So STAR 3 and 4 is more attainable and affordable for providers as we move forward. There are also reciprocities with other quality rating systems, and we will talk more about that as we move through the webinar. But if your program is accredited by NAEYC, NAFC, Montessori, if you're a Head Start or an early Head Start provider, or if you're an out-of-school time accredited program or a 21st Century Community Learning Standard, or working through the ASQ indicators, you may be able to quickly receive a STAR 4 rating. So let's take a minute to look back at the performance standards, and here are the big changes for us. The performance standards have really been streamlined to the few and the powerful. This is something that we heard over and over from our stakeholders, and that we challenged ourselves again as we think about the latest research and thinking around quality rating and improvement systems. What are the performance standards that are most meaningful to moving quality forward? And this is about maintaining rigor without rigidity. Those are two separate things, right? We want programs to really be able to challenge themselves and to demonstrate high quality practices without saying it must look this certain way. STARS needs to provide measurable steps to quality. Programs need to feel supported and ready to move forward and know that they have the resources in place while we spend time reducing the administrative burden. This is about understanding that our high-quality providers don't need to provide every shred of evidence to us to ensure that they are indeed doing that, but think about how we are helping to move all programs forward. So again, performance standards are evidence-based. They reflect the few and the powerful. They're rigorous and not rigid. And performance standards focus on building equity in our system. One of the most exciting pieces that we hope that everyone is also excited around is the Keystone STARS Program Manual. And this is a new tool that's really intended to ensure that programs have a clear understanding of what their opportunities are to participate in STARS. And when we talk about programs and when we're talking about childcare, we mean everyone who's in our community. All programs who are serving young children are moving forward using the same set of performance standards and the same program manual. This is about emphasizing our sames, not our differences across our program models. And as we talk about ensuring that folks have what they need to navigate the STARS system, this is really, again, a focus on continuous quality improvement rather than monitoring. This is about how do we ensure that programs who are serving our most vulnerable children, who raise their hands and say, yes, we need more support, are getting what they need, while programs that are high functioning and have been doing the work of providing high-quality early learning experiences, some of you for many, 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 many years, and are leaders in our community, we need to understand that we need to focus our resources with those who are serving our most at-risk children who need the most support as they move through these steps of building their structural quality and then moving to where they are able to make choices around their process quality in STAR 3 and 4. So as we take the program manual and start to look forward, let's spend a little bit of time talking about actually navigating the new Keystone STARS system. So this is 6 easy steps. And step 1, again, is this idea around making the commitment to quality. We want to recognize programs that maintain safe and healthy environments for children. So again, the following early care and education providers will be awarded a STAR 1. DHS certified child care providers with a full certificate of compliance, as well as preschool programs who are licensed by the Pennsylvania Department of Education and are in good standing. And again, that's a change for us. We'd like to welcome our private academic preschool friends and tell you we're excited that you're here and we can't wait to work through this system with you together. After your program has made that initial commitment, Step 2 is really spending some time looking at your continuous quality program profile, spending time telling us a bit about your program and what you hope to achieve and what supports you're looking for through the Keystone STAR system. Again, this is a strengths-based system that is responsive to the needs of providers, while understanding that for many of you, your needs change. You serve different children 5 years from now than you did before. You may need different things, and that's okay, and we need to figure out how to work together to ensure everyone is getting what they need to really build the quality in their program and reach the quality improvement goals that they have set for themselves. Step 3 talks about getting ready for a STAR 2. So I know we do have a current Keystone STARS orientation that will be updated. There will be a new Keystone STARS orientation. Part 1 is really, again, this overview of the STARS system and the continuous quality improvement principles. Part 2 is elements of assessing and building quality. So when we're talking about assessing a program, what does that mean? What tools are we talking about? When we are asking you to make choices about what quality goals you have, we want to ensure that you have all the information that you need to make a really informed choice and to feel really empowered in the process. As we talk about the CQI planning, we're going to talk about evidence of structural quality. So what does that mean to say that you're meeting these performance standards? What kind of items will the regional key folks ask to see to say, oh, yes, of course, that is something that you are meeting? So as we move forward into the STAR 2, this is really about setting the foundation to move to a STAR 3 and 4. So as we look at the STAR 2, again, we have 50% fewer standards, which is very exciting and was very challenging. As we talked about what is an evidence-based standard, what choices do folks need to make, the STARS indicators really focus on items that impact services for children and families. So again, these are about half the number of indicators as before, and each indicator is achievable and meaningful to providers and the children that they serve. We would really like to emphasize that you may already be meeting many, many of these indicators, such as being registered in the PD registry, or you have a family handbook, or you already are using a developmentally appropriate screening tool with children within 45 days of enrollment. So hopefully many of you see practices you are already engaging in these performance standards as part of the structural quality. Step 4, we're looking at the designation of a STAR 2. So again, programs need to meet each and every one of the STAR 2 performance standards. This is part of the block in order to achieve a STAR 2. And we invite you once again to please connect with your regional keys for your supports, or if you would like, you may complete evidence gathering on your own. And now as we turn our attention to the STAR 3 and 4, we will look at the hybrid piece of the system, which again is really talking about flexibility, making choices, and really spending time very thoughtfully considering what will be most meaningful to the children and families that you serve in your program. So programs earn points by meeting select indicators across the standards. Again, you will choose which indicators best meet your CQI plan. So there's flexibility and choice. There are evidence-based program observation tools to measure program quality and plan for CQI activities. As you look through the STAR 3 and 4 supports, I hope that you see there's not just an emphasis on what tools will be used to assess your program to meet the performance assessment standard, but also lots of different tools that are available to take a deep look at what CQI efforts your program would like to engage in and what could be meaningful to your program as you start to think about some different practices or different areas of interest as you move through the system. There is CQI assistance available from your quality coach. there are people here to help you and support you as you move through the system, and they really are the best resource available through the STAR system. They can support you in gathering evidence. They can support you by conducting a self-assessment. Again, they can support you in pulling everything together and saying, let's spend some time reflecting and thinking about what should be in your CQI plan. Is this a plan that's going to be meaningful to your families if you share it with them? What supports do your staff need? What's sort of the most pressure on you during the day? How do we build some time in for you to be incredibly reflective? They are there to help you review your evidence that you are indeed meeting your STAR 3 and 4 standards. So when you're saying, yes, I'm ready, I'm excited, that we make sure that you have everything that you need to move forward. And then, of course, scheduling a program observation. So again, STAR 3 and 4 is really around this idea of greater flexibility. So programs can choose the elements that they want to focus on in each standard area. So, for example, for a STAR 3, you would need 16 out of 23 possible points in the learning program area. So you could implement a research-based curriculum that aligns with the early learning standards, identify and use the results from a developmentally appropriate authentic assessment tool to inform your curriculum and individual child planning. You share those assessment results with families, which I know many of you already do, and then the required independent assessment on a reliable observation instrument like ERS or CLASS. So step 6 is around achieving your STAR 3 or 4 designation, so hopefully you're all feeling as excited as this little girl on the slide. So your program's designation is determined by the number of points you've earned across the 4 performance standards, again, meeting the CQI goals that you set for your program, and receiving an OCDEL-approved assessor's observation using a program observation instrument, CLASS, or the ERS suite of tools. So now that you've achieved your STAR 4, and we're so excited and we're so happy to have you, there is a piece that is, how do we keep this moving? How do we ensure that everybody's quality improvement plans are continuing to move forward and that you have the tools and supports you need to constantly be in the plan, do, act cycle, right? We want to make sure that folks are not achieving their STAR 4 and saying, phew, okay, that's over with. Now I'm not going to look at that anymore. That's not the intent of Keystone STARS. The intent of Keystone STARS is to help you set up processes and policies and program tools that allow you to continue to engage in this CQI process and really be able to move your goals forward, so you're consistently and constantly challenging yourselves to think about, are the services that we're providing the children and families who we have currently enrolled reflective of those families' current needs? So as we look at the annual review, you can see that programs that receive a STAR 2 or higher are asked to complete an annual review report. So again, the idea behind this report is that you spend some time thinking and reflecting on what went well, what could change, and to really ensure that you have the resources that you need, and if a new challenge or a new successes come up, that you're able to share that and get the supports that you need. Keystone STARS designations are being awarded for a 3-year period moving forward. We need to be thoughtful about our very high-quality providers who've spent a great deal of time demonstrating that they are indeed meeting these higher performance standards, to say, you know what, we have a lot of providers who need a lot of other supports moving forward, and it's most impactful and thoughtful to allow our high-quality providers to work and reflect on their own during that 3-year period, of course offering supports if those are needed, but to really spend a lot of time with our friends who are working to build their structural quality and make that leap to thinking about process quality. There are some exceptions to the 3-year period, including those programs that are ready to achieve a new higher STAR level designation. We welcome programs to move forward at their own pace. It's incredibly important to us that as you are ready to move forward, we are ready to support you to do that. We also want to be mindful of programs that may have significant program growth. If you've never served infants and toddlers before and now you have a couple new classrooms open, your program's going to need different supports. You're going to need to look at your CQI plan differently. We want to make sure that you have what you need to move forward, and that would be part of thinking through what your designation looks like. And then, of course, programs that are not able to maintain their full status with certification would indeed not be eligible to renew their STARS designation. So we did want to spend some time looking at the reciprocity. I know many of you are deeply curious about this. So again, programs that are accredited by NAEYC, NAFC, Montessori, and Head Start programs can receive a Star 4 rating. We wanted to be incredibly thoughtful about our out-of-school time friends, and we know that it can be very, very challenging for SAC programs and out-of-school time programs to participate in state QRIS systems that really spend a lot of time thinking about the birth to 5 population. To that end, we spoke to many of our school-age friends, and we received the recommendation that many school-age programs, it's actually more meaningful to them to think about the school-age accreditation, the 21st Century Community Learning Center, or the after-school quality work. So as we move forward with this year of transition, we want to be incredibly thoughtful about what this reciprocity looks like across the system and ensure that we really are meeting the intent of the STARS program, which is to designate high-quality providers and get providers supports, quality building supports that are meaningful to their program model. So again, this isn't about asking many, many different programs to jam into one space, but allowing programs to really say, this is what's most meaningful to me. Please review the performance standards if you are one of these types of programs, and of course your regional key will have more information as we move forward around the reciprocity work. So we wanted to spend some time talking about what's next. The first piece, of course, is getting to know the new performance standards. I know we had a couple screenshots. They're very small and hard to read on there. The performance standards will be posted on the PA-Keys website. Again, that's www.pakeys.org, along with the provider program manual, so you can take some time to really review those and spend some time thinking about it and develop your questions for the regional key meetings. The next step, of course, again, if you are not connected with your regional key, we really encourage you to do so. Again, the people at the regional key really are going to be your best resource around quality building and really helping you find that strengths-based approach to ensuring that your program can succeed as you move forward. We would encourage Star 1 providers to think about moving to a Star 2. If many of you have been with us at a Star 1 for many years, it's time to move forward. Let's think about what that looks like for your program. And again, the regional keys are very committed to ensuring that you have what you need in order to move forward to a Star 2. I hope that you saw that many of the current Star 1 performance standards, those structural quality pieces, are reflected in the Star 2 performance standards. You should see many things that you're already doing in there. Let's take some time to think together about how we can help to move you forward. Again, 17-18, July 1, 2017 to June 30, 2018 is really a year of transition and support. We want to ensure that programs that are well on their way to moving to one of our higher STAR levels are able to do so in a way that's smooth, that's quick, that's very, very streamlined, and is not associated with a tremendous amount of administrative burden for you. So as I mentioned earlier in the website, we do have many meetings coming up. I realize that these are going to go by fairly quickly. There are meetings in each region. Again, all of these dates will be posted on the PA-Keys website. And so the first set is with our friends at the Northwest Key. You can see they're going to be sort of all the way at the top and the bottom of the state. Our friends at the Northeast Regional Key are offering many, many options, again, from everywhere from Bradford and Sullivan to Luzerne to Susquehanna. We are still getting dates from the Southwest Regional Key. Those will be posted as quickly as possible up on the website. The Mid-State folks have several dates that they are sharing with us. And then, of course, the Southeast Regional Key also has many dates. And again, these will be put up on the PA Keys website for you to be able to identify a date that works best for you to come and ask your questions in person and really have some time to connect with the folks in your region who are very, very interested in helping you move forward. So I've said several times that 2017-2018 is a learning year, and we deeply mean that. As we move through the Keystone Stars revisioning, this is the next piece, right? This for us is we've done the plan. We're going to do the do now, right? We need to spend time thinking about what worked, what didn't work the way we thought it was going to work, what resources were deeply meaningful and impactful to providers, and what resources maybe missed the mark. So we are going to spend a lot of time thinking still as a community about understanding the STARS revisioning, what changes and new practices we need to spend time thinking about, and if providers do indeed have what they need to move through the system. So we understand that there's going to need to be time for everyone to think about where they fall in the new system and then become proficient with the new performance standards and all of the resources. So providers who are currently STARS providers who are scheduled to renew in 2017 and 2018 may extend their current STAR level for 1 year, so they can learn the new system and they can think about where they want to move in the new system. So the exceptions to that, of course, are providers who look at these new performance standards and say, I'm ready to move forward. We really want to support you. If you are indeed ready to move to a higher STAR level, we want to ensure that we can get you there as quickly as possible. We do also understand that sometimes programs have a situation which may suspend their rating. This, of course, the automatic renewal would not apply to programs with suspended STARS. So we've spent a lot of time over the past 18 months talking about change and thinking about what this could look like and what this could and should be. And, I think we always sort of use the metaphor of the caterpillar into the butterfly. And I think, everyone sort of thinks, oh, yeah, of course, we know that one. But I learned something recently about caterpillars becoming butterflies that I think is very meaningful. So when a caterpillar moves and becomes a chrysalis, when it tucks itself away, we actually learned that they don't fluidly transition to a butterfly. Wings don't come out of its back, and it sort of just is suddenly this new thing. It actually morphs into a soup. It sort of becomes a very liquefied version of itself, and then the new parts start to form. But what's exciting is that there's core cells in there that really become and stay the important parts, right? Like the eyes are still going to be the eyes. And as the butterfly then emerges out the other end, what we've learned about these butterflies is they actually carry the memories of the caterpillar with them. So this isn't about sort of a newly transformed being that has no connection to what it began as, but this is about understanding the change process and how it is. It's messy in the middle, right? It's really soupy and messy and almost unrecognizable. But at the end, we have a new system that carries the memories and the foundations of our current system that we worked so hard to build and is ready to launch us off into a new space and really fly. So I want to thank all of you for riding through the messy in the middle part with us and really helping to shape and change our caterpillar to our butterfly and be the voice for children and for providers in all of this work. Again, this was truly a stakeholder-driven process, and we could not have done any of this without everyone's voice at the table. We need to have a place where STARS is meaningful to every program that serves young children, not just the ones who are most able to come to the table and raise their voice. So as we move forward in this new year, I'd love to say a huge thank you to everyone for being deeply involved in this process. We're so excited that you're with us. I invite all of you to take the next step. Join us at one of the regional meetings. We really want to see you there and to have you with us. This is a time of great conversation, too. We invite hearing feedback. We really want to make sure that this is working for everyone. So as we move forward, please stay looped in. We want to keep you with us, and we are so thankful for you spending your time with us today. So thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful day.